Tame Impala are back with a brand new song called End of Summer. Tame Impala is one of those bands that I have been aware of, or bands, artists I guess, is somebody I've been aware of for a really long time. I know sporadic songs, loads of people, it was like a running joke when I was at university, sort of long hair, hippie vibe, but just everyone, especially considering I was on a marine biology degree, so surrounded by hippies, and they were all like, oh, have you heard of this band? This guy, it's called Tame Impala. I think you'd really like him. It actually got to the point where I became a bit resistant because I found it irritating. I was being recommended him so many times, but a few songs over the years have filtered into the old ear holes. I actually really Feel Like We're Only Going Backwards, or Feels Like We're Only Going Backwards, whatever that one's called. That one's actually just really, really good. I've listened to that a fair amount over the years, but I also know Yes, I'm Changing, The Less I Know Is Better, and Elephant. Those are like the only Tame Impala songs I know. It took me quite a long time to find out that it was in fact just one guy called Kevin Parker, I think his name is. Absolutely top of his game though. He's one of those like Australian sensations that's just been absolutely dominating the music industry for quite a long time now, it seems like. I think they just celebrated a 10-year anniversary of one of his first albums. So he is back with a brand new album, it looks like, having freshly just sold all of his rights to Sony, which is really interesting. He sold his entire back catalogue, but interestingly, he also signed what seems like exclusive rights to all future works. Like, he has decided that he is going to be a Sony lad from here on out. Which, I'm gonna go ahead and guess probably made him quite rich. It's been a while, it seems, since he's released like a full album. I think the last one was 2020, according to this article I've got in front of me. He had a song as part of the soundtrack to Barbie, which is pretty big. Various other films, including the Elvis film, he did a remix for, which is kind of cool. And he's done a bunch of collaborations. He's on the most recent Gorillaz album, and I love that album. I'll admit the Tame Impala song is not my favorite of that album, but it's very good. So, he's been a busy boy. He's moved in circles I've liked for a long time. It does worry me a little bit that I have seen this being described as his roots in acid house coming back round, so we'll have to see, because generally speaking, my taste tends to lie slightly more on the rocky side if you haven't got that by this point. So yeah, we'll see. It's also a hell of a long song. It's like 9 minutes 27, so we'll see just how much of that I actually show, but yeah, why not? Let's jump in and listen to End of Summer by Tame Impala. I did see that the guy who directed this music video is somewhat famous in the sphere. I now can't remember his name, but I did see it described as mostly filmed entirely in split screen, which is kind of interesting. It's definitely a unique take. I've not seen many music videos with this kind of like creative decision already, and I quite like the way that the colours are slightly inverted. You've got one with a very blue filter over it, and the other one's more kind of true to life, or at least a bit more grey. Oh, here we go. All right, okay. I really like the tones used in the synthesizer. I've got to give him credit. It's got a very strong kind of throwback 80s vibe to it. It kind of makes me think of sort of sci-fi and X-Files and that kind of thing, which I really like. So yeah, we'll see. The drums are definitely kind of housey. We'll have to see how much stronger this influence ends up becoming. I do like the way that the drum beat is progressing. It's quite satisfying to hear the elements kind of introduced slowly after various reps. You just have that kick drum to start with, and you kind of keep getting these offbeat snare hits and toms and stuff like that, just sort of like introduced over time. That's quite pleasing, I will admit. Hearing, you can kind of picture him on a loop deck, kind of putting it together as it goes, which is quite a pleasing hearing experience. So far, I enjoy that aspect of it at least. That bassline introduction is really nice as well. His vocals are really, it's strange. They sort of feel more kind of crisp than normal. They're kind of, I'm guessing maybe it's because there's fewer sort of echo delay effects, because this one is not so much on the psychedelic side of things, which I think a lot of his other stuff does sound like. So maybe it's just less effect burdened, maybe. But not to say that the effects are bad and the other stuff, but it feels more kind of sharp and biting, which is working nicely for the sparseness of this song. And again, the development of all these ideas, it really, the whole thing reeks of being built on a loop deck, which is fine. I like that as a sound effect. It almost makes me think a little bit of like Mark Ribier or something like that. I imagine watching him do all this live, even though I know he tours with the whole band, but still, it would probably be quite a satisfying experience. And I like the bass line so far. It's kind of all coming together nicely. It's nice tones. It's definitely still got some of that psychedelic aspect to it, but it's definitely more rooted in a sort of like more hard beat than I'm used to with this particular individual. Okay, so that's quite nice. I like that now that they've kind of kicked it into this extra gear, this sort of, it had a synth build up. It was all kind of feeling like it was going to explode, and it kind of did, but it maintained everything. But things like that bass line have now got a second half to them, which is quite nice. Beforehand, it was kind of doing a bum bam ba-dum bam bum bam, and now it's kind of like the second half of it has got more to do. Everything's becoming a little bit more urgent as it builds up. It's definitely feeling like it's going to have some really massive explosion at some point. We'll have to see. It was a very nice creative decision to have that dart throw there. That was really nice visual kind of like cue for the sort of dropout section while you're waiting for the next thing to happen. Just that little bar or that couple of beats, and have that be the passage where the dart is going across. That's a really nice detail from a visual perspective. And while we're talking about visuals, with his shorter hair and, I don't know, kind of the styling, I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of Surge from Kasabian vibe, just visually. This second section, I know I've only heard it for a few seconds, but I'm not 100% sold. I find the trend of people having like a very distorted, very quite shrill female voice coming in as a hook to be overused. I feel like you hear that in pop music a lot, like a lot. That being said, I'm not 100% sure that is a female voice now. I've listened to it again. That might just be him with more effects on it. Okay, so we're going through a transition here. Interesting. I'm quite liking the way this is being kind of like muted down. I really like the way that it's kind of like almost gone sludgy. It sounds like the song's gone underwater almost. Like pretty much everything, every element apart from a few synths that were playing beforehand has kind of like come up. I don't know why it didn't feel jarring. It kind of almost felt like it came to a natural conclusion, which is interesting because we are at 4 minutes into the song. So that is somewhat like a duration of a sort of typical song. So it's kind of interesting that it kind of felt like it came to this close. And now we've got this kind of muted, more soundscapey thing, but the production on this part of it is absolutely excellent. Just the way that it's singing in and out of my ears is kind of being washed over me with this kind of like soundscapey thing. I quite like the way that's happened. I'll have to see what section it's now transitions into. Oh, okay. Back to the drums. The boca chicka, boca chicka. Okay. Okay, he's very, very good at introducing new elements. The way that, I'm not glad I just found that section I've listened to a bit repetitive, but the way that those other sort of flourishing synths sort of start coming in again to introduce new ideas is all very, very fluid. Like, this is a guy with a singular vision. He knows the ebb and flow of this song, like, inside and out, and I do really respect the way that he's able to bring these new elements in and out. Bloody hell. Okay, now that was interesting. I was so geared up for a kind of like really almost dub style like drop there, where the that sort of like way more aggressive synth line started to get introduced and was building up the tempo and sort of lining up with the snare or the hi hat. I think it was drums. So it was getting quite urgent. It was kind of all set up for there, and then just It's kind of so strange. It hits so many weird subgenres, this song, from sort of psychedelic to straight dance to, I guess, acid house, to kind of proggy as well, the way that it kind of moves in these sections, but brings in and out ideas. So now I have literally no idea what to expect. Based on previous experience of this song, I guess maybe we're waiting for that drum beat to come back again after a bit more kind of like soundscapey stuff. We'll have to see. And the negative of a couple really getting it on an old boy who's along for the ride. Nope, okay, he's just gonna ride on by. I'd love to know what the thought process behind this is. Okay. Yep, and there it is. God damn it. I mean, there's that drum beat again. There's that slightly more aggressive synth. It's just gone going the whole way through again. But now you've got this like very sampled vocal line kind of coming in at the same time. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, this beat turns out to be unrelenting. It will continue to come back. You have random breakdown sections in the middle, but that core idea, that drum beat, which is where it started, to be fair, is apparently not going anywhere. So I guess this is like the sort of verse section of the song. We've got this callback now. We've got the vocals back with the same melodies we were having beforehand, but now you've got this slightly more present synth kind of stuff going on in the background. The whole thing feels a bit more chaotic, maybe, is a way of putting it. I'm not going to lie, I am starting to find that bass drum right there in the center the whole way through a little bit grating. Just boom, 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 the whole way through. I know that in the scenario, the context where this is probably most suited to it is a dance floor, right? A DJ set or something like that, where that relenting beat is kind of what keeps you going through the booze and whatever else it is you happen to have consumed. But on my own, in this room, listening to it in the vacuum, I'm just dum, 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 dum. It sounds like the beat of my heart slowly driving me towards insanity. Ah, a reprieve. Another section where he kind of wanders around, and we'll see. I also realised that I described him as an old boy from a distance when he was stealing the motorbike, but that is not the case. Put some shoes on, boy, you'll get nettles. And there it is. Right, so we've now got like full everything back. Almost every sample, I think, that has been played over the course of this. The vocals, that higher sort of like warped one that I can't quite tell whether it's him singing or someone else. Pretty much all of the other ideas are all in there. It's like when they're all together, they are quite nice. I feel like maybe we have taken too long to get there. Well. Drums, 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 drums. Okay. I thought we would finish, but I've realised I've been baited about 3 times already this song. He's going to finish his walk. Oh, okay, maybe that is the end now? There's like another minute or so. Is there any music in this minute? Nope. No, there is not. Okay, well, that was a journey. That was certainly a journey. I will admit I do not like that very much. I am sorry to all the Tame Impala fans. It is just not my style. I can see the appeal in it in the right situation. You know, it strikes me as something that if you happen to find some sort of toadstool to chomp upon and sat there and like with your friends and that on loud, especially with the music video, would go really, really well. Or even in a club and DJ sets and all that kind of stuff. But it's just not something think I'll find myself listening to on my walk to work or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not jumping on that one on Spotify. It feels like realistically there's like a minute and a half's worth of material, and I initially, and I do still like the way that it kind of like built up and was kind of added upon with this kind of very loop station style effects kind of going on with the way the drum beat was built up and the various backing parts and the way that the bass progressed. That was all very nice. I think that song should have been like 3 minutes long, or 4 minutes, where the first time it kind of baited us out and stopped and did kind of sound soup for a bit, and then it came back. It just every time it came back, there wasn't enough variation for me to feel like it earned it. There are these kind of like slow breaks where you just get all this like slightly cringy footage of whatever his name is wandering around, sort of like, you know, smoking a fag and watching people make out and whatever else he's doing, and it just sort of feels a little bit self-indulgent, you know, and then it just comes back and then it's just like it just immediately goes back with that same drum beat that just. But yeah, by the end of it, I know I've already said it started to wear me down a bit. That beat was so unrelenting. I think what I liked about the Tame Impala songs I knew was that they were kind of like easy listening almost. They're the kind of thing you want to lie back in your bed and kind of close your eyes and have a vinyl on next to you that just spins through that whole album and just kind of like think about the world and life and longing. This is definitely a complete vibe change from that, at least. I'm aware that the actual Tame Impala I know is a very small sample size of his overall catalog, so forgive me for that, but yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie, that did not grab me. Cool, I'm sure there is plenty of people that really like it. I bet you this one does quite well in the mainstream, to be honest. I know a lot of, you know, sort of younger colleagues at work who will probably, if I was to play this to them, quite like it. So, yeah, I don't know. That what it is it's not really for me, but that doesn't mean it's for everyone. So, anyway, now that I've pissed off every single person watching this video, thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Like, actual true Tame Impala fans, let me know how this stacks up compared to the rest of his career. Is this a natural arc? It feels like he's going this way for a while, or is this like a hard pivot? Is it a callback to his roots? I really don't know, so let me know in the comments. I'd be very appreciative of that. Thanks for sticking with me. Like, share, subscribe, all of that crazy stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.